friends and neighbours, and have confidence that the team will keep you safe.
But now you start to see it, the people never happy, it's never enough.
Hola gente, ¿cómo están? Bienvenidos a un nuevo directo de Milenio Oscuro. Bueno, Milenio Oscuro, siempre por decir Milenio Oscuro Comics. ¿Cómo están? Espero que muy bien. A ver cómo se ve esto. Vamos a cambiar un poquito algunos settings. Está bien. Oscuro está todo. Bien. Bueno, gente, a ver, ¿qué es lo que vamos a probar hoy en este directo? Vamos a bajar un poquito el volumen. Acá, vamos a poner acá abajo. Bueno, este es un juego muy extraño, muy raro. Se llama Not for Broadcast. Es de la misma empresa, básicamente, que hace juegos como por ejemplo el Hello Neighbor. Y en este caso vamos a ser el editor de digamos, de un programa de noticias. Y vamos a tener que ir probando de censurar ciertas cosas, viendo qué cámaras utilizar, etcétera, etcétera. Muchos he visto comparaciones que ponen que es como una especie de Papers, Please junto con Monty Python, porque tiene un humor bastante denso, aunque también ahora salió el episodio número 2, en el cual aparentemente las cosas se ponen un poquitito más serias. ¿Por qué el tema de Papers, Please? Porque también vamos a hacer un tipo que trabaja en este lugar y tenemos que ganarnos también el dinero, o sea que nos pueden llegar a echar si hacemos mal las cosas. Este juego la verdad que lo recibí ya hace, creo que un año o dos. Estaba todavía en alfa o en beta, pero me pareció súper complejo de manejar realmente. Y por lo que veo, bueno, ahora está también, al menos con subtítulos en castellano. Es un juego en el que tenés que realmente ponerte muy las pilas, porque tenés que manejar todo lo que son las cámaras, el sonido, todo del lugar. Y se pone complicado. Pero bueno, no importa, la cuestión es ver qué es lo que pasa. La historia se va abriendo paso. También sacaron un episodio especial que, como ven abajo, dice ver el documental, porque durante la pandemia tuvieron que filmar utilizando, no podían unirse para filmar, así que tuvieron que utilizar aparentemente sus casas. Hay un episodio que se ha grabado así. El juego es FMV absoluto, o sea, es todo con full motion video. O sea que tuvieron que filmar todo lo que va sucediendo. Y eso es lo que lo hace tan loco, ¿no? En su momento existían tantos juegos de este tipo, con el full motion video en los años 90, cuando se empezó a popularizar el tema del CD-ROM. Y luego es como que se pasó al 3D y ahora se está volviendo a esto. Obviamente los costos son altos, porque tenés que filmar con actores, un montón de cosas. Y en este caso, bueno, la historia se va a ir abriendo, cambiando aparentemente según las decisiones que vayamos tomando. Así que, ¿qué les parece si ya nomás arrancamos con el juego? Hacemos una partida nueva. Dice que han cambiado algunas mecánicas, así que aconsejan hacer una partida nueva, porque si no realmente hay cosas que no vas a entender, o bueno, etcétera. Para mí al pelo, porque la verdad que lo jugué muy poquito y es todo como nuevo. Voy a subir de vuelta el volumen para que puedan escucharlo bien. Cualquier cosita me dicen si se escucha medio o si se escucha muy fuerte. Pero realmente acá tenemos que escuchar lo que está pasando y estar atentos. Es complicado porque realmente en este caso no estaría nada mal que estuviera en castellano, porque tenemos que escuchar atentamente lo que va pasando. Yo acá voy a tener que subir el volumen también y ver lo que va pasando, porque vamos a tener que ir tomando decisiones en base a eso. Así que bueno, hacemos ya una partida nueva de Not for Broadcast y vamos a ver qué onda. Nombre de la partida, no sé, vamos a poner Milenio y vamos a comenzar. Como esta imagen es como que resume un poco lo que vamos a hacer, ¿no? Vamos a ser como manejados para que tomemos ciertas decisiones, qué cosas censurar y qué cosas no. Y bueno, es como un poco una especie de parodia o casi descripción por ahí de lo que sucede con los medios, no lo sé. Voy a subir acá el volumen. Día 1. Elecciones. Mira a la derecha. Con... Ah.
Hi David, I have a call for you. I'm just putting it through. Alright mate, Dave here. Listen, I know you've only come in to clean up the place, but I've got a bit caught up, so you're gonna have to run the news tonight. Now don't worry, it's not hard and I'm gonna stay on the phone and help you. First, I'm gonna give you a quick tour of the broadcast room, so if you're not doing it already, look forwards towards all those screens. Right, look up at the top. That coloured bar is your audience. You want to keep the viewers going up and not down. Underneath that, you've got the screens. The one on the right is the broadcast screen. That's what the viewers are seeing at home. It's only a couple of seconds behind the master screen there in the middle. That's the one you control. Now the 4 small screens on the left show the different signals coming from the studio, and you can choose between them using the numbered buttons on the vision mixer at the bottom left. Don't worry, I'll talk you through it and you'll pick it up in no time. Now, have a look to your left.
Bueno, ¿qué es lo que nos dijo recién? Aparentemente hay un flaco que nos dice, por favor me tenés que cubrir en las noticias hoy, así que te explico rápidamente cómo es. Esto es re me parece casero. Tenemos la pantalla principal, que es la que ve la gente, la pantalla principal nuestra, que está unos segundos atrasada, que es la del medio. Acá están las 4 tomas de video, de las cuales vamos a tener que ir. Vieron que uno no se da cuenta, pero cuando uno está mirando televisión, está continuamente cambiando el tema de las cámaras. Ese es un tipo que está todo el tiempo, o sea, la cabeza así. Bueno, eso vamos a hacer nosotros. Y hay muchas cosas más, pero por ahora vamos a ver para la izquierda.
These plugs control everything in the studio. I've left them set up for you, so provided you haven't fiddled with them, all you have to do now is throw the master trip switch and we're in business. Once you've got the power on, face the front again.
Bueno, por ahora solamente vamos a activar el conmutador, pero todo esto después aparentemente lo vamos a usar. Bueno, la zona de sonido, los speakers, el rack con los VHS, que son los videos, un, no sé, Vision Mixer, y el fan, que es el ventilador.
You can see on the broadcast screen that we're in the end titles for the show before us. Fortunately, they go on for fucking ages, so there's plenty of time for me to explain. Oh, right, okay,
Bueno.
So we haven't got long now till the broadcast. Right, quickly, mate, look down under the desk.
A ver, para abajo, asumo que es... ya está terminando el otro programa.
Videotapes on the left, they're your adverts. Pick any 3 and load them into the machines on the right. When you've done that, look up to the front again.
Bueno, tenemos que cargar los anuncios. Ejercítate con Hamsleeves, Neil el Pirado, Bernard Bumbley, Alan James y ensalada semanal. Bueno, ejercítate. Ensalada semanal y Neil el Pirado. Listo.
When you get the signal, select screen 1 with the vision mixer and we're ready to go.
1, ahora apretó el 1.
Every day. You offer me prawns every day.
10 seconds, everybody. That's how I show love.
You're trying to kill me.
And yet you persist. Going 5, 4.
Good evening. I'm Jeremy Donaldson. Our main stories tonight.
Okay, we're all good. Next is going to be to throw the news titles on screen 2. There'll be a countdown, but I'll count you in as
Ya me estoy poniendo
well.
nervioso.
Just relax, mate. It's all gravy.
Honest Andy's totally
Está subiendo la gente que nos está mirando.
Top chat. Sports fans everywhere celebrate as popular footballer Johnny Hamsleeves wins Sports Personality of the Year. And a spoonful of sugar. Megan will be chatting with movie star Lawrence Blunderclatch about his new movie, The Medicated. And, of course, we'll be going live to advance...
Bien, está subiendo la gente, está subiendo la gente.
...scheduling party.
Uy, acá esto.
Right, button 2 in 3, 2,
1.
lovely, mate.
Yeah.
Next thing is to throw back to Jeremy with button 1 when that globe in the middle shrinks down and vanishes.
Acá. Acá le están maquillando al chabón.
decisive win for France. The landside
¿Qué pasa? Oh, no. Interferencia. Acá. ¿Qué pasa?
but critics have accused him of a severe lack of actual policies and of being deliberately vague. The opposition parties have all conceded defeat to Advance's overwhelming mandate, but have yet to
¿Ya
appeal
está?
publicly. However, former Home Secretary
Right, it's going well.
Bien.
All you've got to do now is play the advert at the end of the segment. Make sure you don't play it too early or we'll all get fired. Now the clock at the top is counting you down to the advert. When it reaches 0, press one of the 3 play ad buttons over there at the bottom right. I normally play the first one at the first break and so on, but you can play them in any order you want.
Bien,
I'll
vamos a
carry
poner
it
las,
as well, but keep your
las
eye
publicidades.
on the clock.
hear the co-leaders accept.
A ver.
And 3, 2, 1, advert.
1 minute back, everybody.
Bien. A ver qué pasa.
Thank you so much. It's running late. Asking about collection.
Johnny Ham Sleeves.
That's the same policy we used with you. I thought that was our little secret. Doesn't remember anything.
Ahora lo podemos mandar al aire con este quilombo, pero vamos a perder audiencia. Vamos a esperar.
Wicked. We made it to the first ad break. He's doing great, mate. But this is where it starts getting a bit trickier. This next sequence is what we call a multicam sequence, because you're going to be cutting between multiple cameras to keep things interesting. A lot of it's down to personal taste, but here's 3 good rules of thumb. 1. Try and keep the shot on whoever is doing the talking. 2. Don't stay on the same shot for too long. 10 seconds at the most. So if you're on
Enfocar a quien hable, no mantener planos de más de 10 segundos. Ay, la cabeza con una tortita.
just to keep it interesting. 3. Don't stay on reaction shots for too long. A couple of seconds is usually enough. Then the audience want to see who's doing the talking, yeah?
Planos de reacción, cuando un tipo se...
It's not as complicated as it sounds. You've seen programs on television, haven't you? Make it look like those. Might as well get screen 1 selected now. No need to wait for the broadcast to start. Try and stay ahead,
On
mate.
the break. Quiet in the studio.
Thank you so much.
10 seconds, everybody.
Ah, ya, está bien, ahí arriba.
Only 5, 4, 3.
Welcome back to the National Nightly News.
Bien.
Later we'll be hearing from shock election winners Advance. But first off,
Ready to go to Megan on screen 4.
is here the star of both stage and screen. Megan?
Thank you, Jeremy.
Ah, qué
Megan
nivel.
Wolf, culture correspondent. And today I have a guest who starred in everything from Shakespeare
Right,
to the
go to
shock
Blunderclatch on screen 3 when she says his name.
by none other than Lawrence Blunderclatch. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh my dear, I do hope you
Recién se estaban bardeando más.
that being with you here today is a moment.
Switch to 2 for the wide now.
May I say having you here with us is among ours.
Bless you.
Right, now just try and stay on whoever's talking.
Ok.
Which is called The Medicated.
The medicated, yes.
Wow, what was that like?
Well, as I said to Peter at the rack, that's Peter Jensen, the director.
Give us a look at Megan's reaction. Lovely. Now back to Thunder Twat.
I worked with him on several movies, all terribly successful. I said to Peter, what a wild ride this has been. What a wild ride this has been. I really meant that.
That is fantastic. And am I right in saying that the character you play in this movie is quite an academic one?
Absolutely right. A scientist.
Was that a challenge at all?
What exactly are you implying? But seriously, yes, you're right. It was a complete departure from my last starring role when I played Sergeant
¿Qué
Brock
quilombo es esto?
Rockman in Bullet Man. You'll remember that that was the true story of one soldier's fight for a love that surpasses all else. A love, of course, for freedom. I think it's grossed over $1 billion, but honestly, who's counting?
It's a role that saw you scoop 2 Best Actor awards, if I remember correctly.
It's so sweet of you to mention it. But I really am not in it for the awards, although those 3 little statues do take pride of place on my mantelpiece.
With all the others, I'm sure. So, if you're not doing it for the awards, what is it then that drives you?
That's a beautiful question, Megan, and not easy to answer. Like you, I'm afraid. Cut me, and I will bleed. And often, that's how it feels, doesn't it? doesn't it? Bleeding, giving, suffering for one's audience. I suppose in the end I do it for the difference it makes. I do it for the people that I inspire. I do it for the little people. But most of all, I think I do it for the positive change that I can bring about in the world.
And today, of course, we're in for some real change, it looks like, in the coming few months. What do you make of this historic election result?
Oh, well. Well, now you're asking. Historic election result. Indeed. Historic is the word. Well, it's difficult, isn't it? Very difficult. But I think I've always been quite clear that when it comes to politics, one should always strive to not fuck things up.
Oh! Don't worry, you won't do it again. He did it again. Okay, don't panic. I'll explain how to deal with swearing at the break.
Which opens next week.
Right, they've swapped the shot of Jeremy on screen 1 for a VT of the movie clip. You'll get a countdown on the screen, but I'll just let Megan cue you in.
My character, Dr. Lance Hemlock, is faced with
tenemos que censura.
Exciting stuff. Let's take a look. Exciting stuff.
Mira el quilombo que se arma acá.
Looks like Blunderclack, she's losing it in the studio, but we ain't got time for that now because there's more interference coming in, and this time it's a bit trickier. When you need to
Después podemos ver lo que pasó.
hold down middle mouse and move the mouse around.
Oh.
You think I don't know that?
No, Lance, we mustn't.
No. Estamos.
Dr. Hemlock.
You told me.
No.
I'm drowning, Lance, he said.
You need to see this.
No, it's all too late.
Fuck it.
Ay. No, se me chica. No, ¿cómo se hace? Ah.
At the end of the clip, you'll want to play another ad. Remember to use the clock at the top to count you in.
Ah, tenemos que poner otro. Ahí está. Tenemos que poner otro aviso. Vamos a poner el aviso 2. Esa actuación. 3, 2, 1, 0. Pimba.
I guess I better explain how to deal with bleeping out swear words.
A ver.
As you probably noticed, the broadcast screen here is about 2 seconds behind the master screen here. When someone says a naughty word, the bleep button lights up like this. 2 seconds later, you'll hear that swear word going out on the broadcast, and you need to hold down the bleep
Ay, tenemos que censurar las puteadas.
for as long as the swear word lasts. It can take a bit of practice getting used to hearing 2 things at once. Just stay calm and you'll get it. And if you can't tell when to bleep, just above the button, you'll literally be able to see the sound scrolling by. All you gotta do is hold it down while the red bit is over the red line. Simple. Of course, if you do it by eye, you'll have to take your eye off the screens. That's why real professionals do it by ear. Most people like to have the volume of the broadcast screen a little bit below the master screen. Let's set it now.
A ver.
As you turn it up, you'll hear the advert getting louder. Good. It's set to start censoring. Like I say, it takes a little practice, but I'll try and help you through it, and soon we'll have you bleeping like a pro. Remember,
Estará censurando como un pro.
1, 2, and hold it down.
That's right. Absolutely free.
Remember to select screen 1 now that you've got the feed. Don't wait for the broadcast to go live. That's too late. You can use the number buttons on your keyboard, 1 to 4.
Bien, ya largamos con el noticiero de vuelta.
4,
Uf.
3.
Ah, no puedo ni tomar mate, loco. Ahí estamos.
Welcome back. And I'm told we can now go live to Advanced Headquarters, where the 2 leaders, Peter Clement and Julia Salisbury, are about to make their acceptance address.
Come to the outside broadcast.
I'll fire it back.
Get ready to play?
Well, thank you all for coming, and, well, where do I start? What a day.
They said we couldn't do it.
They certainly did.
They used every dirty, low-down, lying, southern bastard trick they had against us. Right through there.
I'm sorry about the language there.
Sorry about that. I've had a couple of celebratory pints. It makes me coarser than the granny's fanny.
Memory.
No.
Hold it down for
But
the
to be honest, who can blame Peter for celebrating? Throughout the campaign,
Vamos a bajar esto así.
throughout the campaign, you've
Bit on this one, bit longer.
advancements are not a political party. A party is what you have when things are going well. When the country is
Vamos a bajar
suffering,
esto.
you don't need a party. You need a team. A team that can change. But today is day one of a new future. A better, fairer future.
Mira cómo están acá
So
mirando.
perhaps we should all be celebrating.
Except for the rich. For them, the party's over. They shouldn't be celebrating. They should be putting their shitting pants on and opening their dusty checkbooks.
Again, colourfully put, but not inaccurate. Before we came out here to address the nation, we used our executive powers to pass the Assets and Wealth Act. Working with the tax office, we have reduced a definitive list of every person in the country with wealth into the millions.
You know this sort of problem. You rather you don't. Because the likes of you and me are not welcome in their gated communities.
Tomorrow, we will be introducing a sweeping reform of the tax system in this country. No more hiding wealth offshore, no more trust funds or creative accounting. A simpler, fairer, unavoidable set of tax laws.
So, all you bastard public school snobs have got nowhere to hide.
Bueno, ¿qué querés?
We revoked your passports. You want them back? You want to leave like you threatened before the election? That's fine. But first, you're going to pay votes. You're going to pay back.
Advance are going to turn this country from a nation of warring individuals into a team. To properly fund health and education. To raise the living standards of us all.
The pundits said we'd have to raise billions. But you'll see when we've reclaimed what's ours, that's absolute ferret shite. So to you posh twats,
The people who pay your kids to serve you drinks in their private
Estás
clubs.
re
People
jodido.
whose children you raise.
so they've got time to get even fucking richer.
Advance have this to say to
Pero...
Hold it down for the whole
Today.
we are coming.
Ahora, voy a bajar este
We are
volumen.
coming for your sports cars and your mansions and your vineyards.
It ends today.
We will put the wealth of this country back where it should have always been. In the hands of the people who created it.
It ends today.
Yes, it ends today. And tomorrow, we'll start making it fair again. Just like we promised we would.
And until then, ladies and gents, I suggest we all get
I can't argue with that.
Ahí.
Thank you for your time.
Tenía que escuchar esta. Es terrible de difícil.
Well, an interesting acceptance speech there. Apologies for the fruity language. Hopefully we got that bleeped out for you in time. If not, someone's going to be in trouble.
Yo.
So, as the country braces itself for new government, that's all from us this evening at the National Microphones. We'll be back tomorrow with full coverage of the first day under Advance. I'm Jeremy Donaldson. Have a peaceful night.
Right, looks like you've got it now.
Oh.
Thanks for being, mate. I've got to go. Ferry's about to leave. Probably won't be coming back. Job's yours, mate. Good luck.
Oh, boring politics then.
Is this some weird fever dream? Am I dying now or something?
You should be so lucky. I'll see you tomorrow night.
Not going for a drink?
No, got a date.
Lucky you. Try not to get murdered.
Quiero ver esto. Nah, buenísimo. Oh. Y sí, me cagó todo el tema de la censura. Reducción del sueldo, no. Dinero actual pobre. ¿Qué decía? Deuda agobiante. Audiencia, malísimo. ¿Esto? ¿Qué onda? A ver.
In a few moments, we'll be going live to tonight's national nightly news.
Esto es
But before
lo
that,
que
let's
nosotros
take a look at
editamos
what's
en
coming up
vivo
later on
grabado.
tonight on Channel 1. At 7 o'clock, it's the semi-final of the quotation game, and it's a nail-biting quiz tonight as a team of nuclear physicists take on 4 old ladies from East Grinching. That's followed at 8 p.m. by award-winning documentary series The Shape of Now, which tonight looks at the history of the knee-length sock and its importance during the Great Blackouts of 1871. Not one to miss. At 9 p.m, sit back and relax with multiple award-winning movie The Freedom of Being Colin, taking us all the way up to 11:15, where, as usual, Dr. Adrian Atkinson-Blimey will be grilling his guests in Incisors, and tonight sees a return for leading economist Katie Brightman. Finally,
Our main stories tonight. Moving on up, the election.
No. Quiero ver cómo fue. La entrevista con el borracho es terrible.
I can have me, Johnny Hamsey, right.
Culture reporter Megan Wolf is here.
Pop-Up Films. I'm very excited to be joined today by none other than Lawrence Blunderclatch. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh my dear.
Esa fue un buen corte, eh.
Believe me when I tell you that being with you here today is among the greatest joys of my life.
May I say, having you here with us is among ours.
Bless you.
So you've just finished filming your latest movie, which is called The Medicated.
The Medicated, yes.
Wow, what was that
Medicated.
Well, as I said to Peter at the Wrap, that's Peter Jensen, the director. Do you know him? He's a wonderful chap, he really is. I've worked with him on several movies, all terribly successful. I said to Peter, what a wild ride this has been. And do you know what, Megan? I really meant that.
Wow, that is fantastic.
Para, yo quiero ver el quilombo de los chabones. Porque es como que, o sea, va a haber elecciones. Mira lo que es la película. Ahí cuando se me iba la señal. Ahí la pude sintonizar.
Couldn't do it. They certainly did. They used every
Acá se me escaparon puteadas a full.
But you,
claro, las hice muy largas algunas.
you saw right through.
I'm sorry about the language there.
Sorry about that. I've had a couple of celebratory pints. It makes me coarser than.
Memorably put. But to be honest, who can blame Peter for celebrating? Throughout the campaign, you
Nah, buenísimo, buenísimo. Bueno, a ver, ¿qué más tenemos? A ver, copiones. Ah, acá vemos directamente todo. Claro, pongo por ejemplo la entrevista a Blunderclatch y puedo ver todo lo que pasa y silenciar y no sé, escuchar lo que está sucediendo en las otras pantallas. A ver.
These aren't my cards. Please tell me these aren't my cards.
No, they're the right ones, apparently.
But this gives me nothing, Jenny. They must see that.
Oh, no. I think they think you won't have anything to say.
Oh, for God's sake, come on. It's a huge day. It's not an...
Absolute bonehead. I don't care, Rob. I'm not doing it. I agreed to do one beastly interview a day. I made that completely clear when we started. Check my contract.
Hi, I'm Megan.
Oh, piss off. You're on thin bloody ice, Rob. Whole wheat, man. Whole wheat.
We're coming back from the break. Quiet in the studio.
Thank you so much.
10 seconds, everybody. Going in 5, 4, 3.
Welcome back to the National Nightly News. Later we'll be hearing from shock election winners Advance, but first our very own culture reporter Megan Wolf is here with a star of both stage and screen. Megan?
Me, Megan Wolf, culture correspondent, and today I have a guest who starred in everything from Shakespeare to the Shopbot films. I'm very excited to be joined today by none other than Lawrence Blunderclatch. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, my dear. I do hope you believe me when I tell you that being with you here today is among the greatest joys of my life.
May I say, having you here with us is among ours.
Bless you.
Pará, lo voy a adelantar a cuando se arme el quilombo. Oh, Belmont. ¿Qué haces? ¿Todo bien?
And I will bleed.
¿Lo conoces a este juego? A ver qué pasa cuando arranca la película.
Next week around the country. Lawrence, do tell us what's going on here. Exciting stuff. Let's take a look.
And we're out.
Oh, get the car, we're out of here.
Mr. Blunderclatch,
No! I'm shutting this down. What kind of operation? I don't understand it.
Mr. Blunderclatch, I understand you're upset, but we can...
I don't understand. Rob! I'll be at the door sheet. Send up a bottle of scotch and a whole ham. It's in my contract.
Sí, lo que pasa es que ahora salió la segunda parte. Yo lo empecé a jugar y lo dejé porque, bueno, no estaba en castellano en ese momento. Era una beta que me mandaron.
What? Told you so. Your hair looked nice.
See, this is why you're single.
Re áspero. ¿Y anuncios? Bueno, los anuncios ya sabemos cuáles son. Bien. Bueno, segunda parte. Pero por eso, ¿lo tenés? ¿Lo jugaste vos, Belmont? Cuando lo conocí ya estaba en castellano y esos juegos bizarros. Es muy bueno esto, es muy bueno. Y dicen que ahora esta segunda parte, hay otra que es el Teletón, creo que se llama, que lo hicieron durante la cuarentena, me parece. A ver. Una solicitud inesperada. Al llegar a casa te encuentras el correo sobre el felpudo. La mayoría es basura y propaganda. Sin embargo, una de las cartas llama tu atención. El equipo quiere conocerte. La curiosidad te puede y abres la carta. Se trata de un formulario del nuevo gobierno de Advance en el que piden información de todos los ciudadanos. Esta es la parte Papers, Please, básicamente. La primera página ya está cumplimentada. Ale Winston, tu pareja Sam Winston, tus hijos Charlie Winston. Bueno, al menos la información principal ya está bien. El resto de las preguntas están por completar. Parece que son obligatorias. En tu primer día de trabajo, eres agradable y te presentas a tus compañeros, eres productivo y te pones a trabajar. Te lo tomas con calma y tratas de ir acostumbrándote o rememoras tus antiguos trabajos con amigos. No, productivo. Un compañero de otro departamento te ha confesado que ha estado llevando a casa información confidencial. Hoy ha desaparecido un archivo de escasa importancia. ¿Qué haces? ¿Ayuda al compañero a cubrir la infracción? ¿Recomendás que informen al jefe? ¿Prometés a tu compañero que no se lo dirás a nadie? ¿O informás de la infracción? No, le digo que informe, él. Han despedido hoy a todo un departamento por desempeño insuficiente. Tu jefe te ha dado nuevas responsabilidades y objetivos mucho más elevados de los que tenía. ¿Qué haces? ¿Salgo del trabajo a mi hora? ¿Te quedas hasta tarde para asegurarte que cumples los plazos? ¿Sales antes del trabajo y te vas a salvar a hablar de los cambios con los compañeros? ¿Salís antes del trabajo y vuelves a casa para estar con tu familia? Y no, me voy a quedar más. A ver, soy un engranaje. Es la barbacoa anual de la empresa y te han invitado a ti y a tu familia. Estás deseando disfrutar de un día agradable con tus amigos y tu familia. Ese día te lavas el pelo, vas si no tienes nada mejor que hacer, pero no pasas nada si te lo pierdes. Has estado practicando con tu compañero de trabajo y crees que ganás en concursos. No, voy si no tengo nada mejor que hacer. Y tras una larga carrera plagada de éxitos, estás a punto de jubilarte. En tu discurso enumero los logros y los buenos recuerdos, es un análisis sincero de los pros y los contras de la empresa. Te centras en los problemas y desafíos a los que te has enfrentado. Vamos a poner eso. En tu tiempo libre te gusta relajarte en soledad con actividades como escuchar música, haciendo manualidades, asistes a manifestaciones políticas y luchas por tus valores. Animas y apoyas a tus hijos con sus aficiones. Juegas a tu deporte favorito en equipo. Vamos a poner, vamos a los hijos. ¿Cuántas preguntas? Tus vacaciones ideales serían en un paraje natural donde puedas aliviar las tensiones provocadas por el trabajo rutinario, explorando un lugar desconocido y descubriendo nuevas experiencias. Un día estructurado en un parque temático, una escapada romántica en tu pareja. Últimamente cada vez más estos dos. Vamos a hacer esto. Lo más importante es que el gobierno garantice que sus ciudadanos estén seguros, sean libres, estén felices y disfruten de igualdad. Qué momento para preguntar esto, ¿no? Qué lindo momento. Sean libres. Gracias por su cooperación. En Advance sabemos que su tiempo es valioso y agradecemos su ayuda para liderar a la nación hacia un futuro más brillante. Bien, día 3. A ver, no, cosas de casa. Ah, bueno, es todo medio... Es tarde, Sam y los niños ya se han ido a la cama. Estás secando tu taza de café favorita, un recuerdo desgastado de vuestro primer viaje juntos. La pintura ya apenas se ve, pero la cara tan bobalicona que tiene dibujada todavía te saca una sonrisa. Unos golpeteos en la ventana te devuelven a la realidad. Allí, en el jardín, sujetando un llamativo maletín verde fosforito, está Chris. De todos los hermanos y hermanas de Sam, es quien mejor te cae. En cuanto pasa, se sienta en la mesa de la cocina temblando. Chris inspira profundamente. Perdona por venir tan tarde, Ale, balbucea Chris, pero necesito un favor y solo tú puedes ayudarme. No hay problema, ¿qué pasa? ¿Va todo bien? ¿Quieres que llame a Sam? Beso. No hace falta preocupar a Sam. He venido a verte a ti. Solo necesito 2 minutos. Ya sabes lo que es lo de la ley de bienes y riquezas, ¿no? Trabajo en las noticias. La verdad es que no estoy muy al día. Se están llevando el dinero que nos hemos ganado con nuestro sudor para dárselo a los vagos. No digo que el 1% de los más ricos no tengan dinero, pero ellos se lo pueden permitir. Sin embargo, la gente como yo lo vamos a perder todo. Por eso estoy aquí. Ok, ¿qué necesitas? Porque tengo la sensación de que esto no me va a gustar. A ver, ¿qué necesitas? Los ojos de Chris no se despegan de las baldosas del suelo. Mira, sé que estoy pidiendo mucho, pero necesito que me prestes tu pasaporte. ¿Mi pasaporte? ¿Para qué? Se han llevado el mío junto con el de la mitad del país, pero la gente siempre dice que tú y yo nos parecemos, así que Chris camina de un lado al otro. Tengo que salir de aquí antes de que sea demasiado tarde. Una vez que esté afuera, yo y mi dinero estaremos a salvo. Mi dinero y yo. Pero tengo que irme antes de que congelen mis cuentas, por favor. Ok, está arriba la caja fuerte, debe haber otra forma. No, ni en pedo le doy el pasaporte. Estás de coña, siempre les he ayudado a ti y a Sam. He tratado a vuestros hijos como si fueran los míos. ¿Eso no significa nada para mí? No, me importa 3 pelotas. Está bien, me las apañaré por mi cuenta. A esto lo llamo yo lealtad familiar, ¿eh? No. Te suelta Chris casi escupiendo mientras recoge su maletín fluorescente y desaparece en la noche. Vuelves a limpiar los platos, al volver a agarrar la taza de Sam, la cara despellejada parece que te perfora con su mirada. Screw the 1%. Logro desbloqueado. Uy, uy, uy. Bueno, vamos a ver qué onda. A ver cómo se complica ahora. Che, Belmont, ahora te tengo que pedir tu tarjeta de crédito. Sí, claro, claro. Un capo el cuñadito. ¿Lo jugaste a este? ¿Lo terminaste? Repercusiones. A ver. Vamos a ver acá al costado. ¿Qué 4 botones?
Right, let's load up the adverts. You might want to have a bit of a think about it. Your decisions have consequences, don't they?
¿Deberíamos jugar? ¿Este juguete es seguro? ¿Qué es esto? Vamos a poner este. Los emprendedores de Advance. ¿Y este? ¡Opa! Una crema facial novedosa con un toque diferente y el simbolito este del triángulo con... Es facilito, sí, es más bien una aventura gráfica. Sí, ni hablar. Lo que me rompe un poco las bolas es que mientras manejar los controles no poder... Sí, es un temita. Por eso había esperado un poco para subirlo acá al Twitch, pero bueno, ya está, vamos a jugar. ¿Cómo? Ah, ve.
Is this Janet who thinks dogs have their own secret language?
Yeah, the one that mistrusts the moon. 10 seconds, everybody!
Not the best source of consumer advice, then.
Don't blame me when it explodes. Going in 5, 4,
It's time to go over to Jeremy Donaldson for tonight's National Night.
Good evening, I'm Jeremy.
Ahí arrancamos.
Our main headlines tonight. Destination unknown. At the end of Advance's first full week in office, we ask exactly who's leading this charge. Tonight, I'll be discussing all the new features with a leading economist and radical free thinker. With the Assets and Wealth Act on the brink of raising living standards for the vast majority of the country, I'll be asking my guests if we're on the way to a new future. Out with the old, Remington's Fist have appointed Sir Remington as their new CEO. The following photo, taken from our archive, gives us a sense of this influential young firebrand who, at the tender age of 23, becomes the youngest female CEO in history. Sophia Remington's appointment is a risk for the giant corporation. Sophia, as our regular viewers will be aware, has always been a wild child and has been romantically linked to several movie stars and sports personalities. In her first press conference this afternoon, Sophia and a children's toy named Mr. Snuggleheart. Sophia promises it'll be all the rage this Christmas, but concerns have been raised about the product's safety. Making a splash, intrepid scientist Dr. David Wall and marine biologist Ingrid Swarsborg.
Sí, el 3 tiene toda la onda.
The recently discovered cave system was previously thought unreachable, but thanks to a new breakthrough in underwater flower technology, the pair hope to successfully reach the imposing central cavern and the undiscovered plant species.
Nah, más bala imposible.
In a joint statement about the dangers their team might face, the pair stated, "We will face the plentiful challenges together like we've always had." Playing the field, rumours abound as sporting Johnny Hamsleeves is snapped leaving Bush, one of the capital's hottest clubs.
Ay, ¿cuál de los dos? Sí, el 4.
Out celebrating being named Sports Personality of the Year last week, as reported by this very program. And judging from the angle and velocity of that spray, it looks like Johnny may have been celebrating a little bit too much.
Cambió lo que dice en base a la imagen.
And Griever's bodily charm. With Advance promising a radical new position on crime, how afraid should we actually be? I'll be going live around the country to talk with people who've seen the criminal justice system from every perspective. With more and more people saying they're scared to walk the streets alone at night, could this be exactly the right time for Advance's new approach? All that, a mega move for the group of young actors already experiencing the positive side of the new Assets and Wealth Act firsthand. They'll be talking and performing later. That's all coming up on tonight's National Nightly News.
¿Qué pasó? Ah, me había quedado casi sin tiempo. ¿Qué pasa? ¿Qué pasa? ¡Ah, no! ¡Fuck! ¡Qué boludo! No me di cuenta de esto. Ay, Dios. No, todo tengo que reintentar. Me olvidé lo de sintonizarlo. No te puedo creer. Me colgué mirando los fucking videos del costado. No, de terror. Qué juego guacho. Yo, obviamente, para esto no funcionaría mal. Okay.
You choose to show these people, well, that's how the public is going to perceive them, and that's going to affect their lives. So, like with the adverts, choose carefully.
No,
and we're off. Good luck, mate. If I get to it, I'll call you back in the next break.
Bien. O sea que las imágenes que elegimos van a afectar el futuro de los tipos y la audiencia.
Yeah, the one that mistrusts the moon. 10 seconds, everybody.
Not the best source of consumer advice, then.
Don't blame me when it explodes. Going in 5, 4, 3.
Time to go over to Jeremy Donaldson for tonight's National
Good evening. I'm Jeremy Donaldson. Our main headlines tonight: Destination unknown. At the end of Advance's first full week in office, we ask exactly who's leading this charge. Tonight, I'll be discussing what the new future might hold with a leading economist and radical free thinker. With the
Choborra,
welfare on the brink of raising living standards for the vast majority of the country, I'll be asking my guests if we're on the way to a new future. Out with the old, Remington's Fist have appointed Sophia Remington as their new CEO. The following photo from our archive gives us a sense of this influential young firebrand who, at the tender age of 23, becomes the youngest female CEO in history. Sophia Remington has always impressed. She was top of her class at university and graduated with the highest honors.
Qué bueno, cómo va cambiando, es genial.
The markets have responded favorably to Sophia's appointment, with stocks rising 30 points in light of the announcement. In her first press conference this afternoon, Sophia announced a children's toy named Mr. Snagglehouse. Sophia promises it'll be all the rage this Christmas, but concerns have been raised about the product's safety. Making a splash, intrepid scientist Dr. David Wall and marine biologist Ingrid Swarsborg and Horgensford have today set
Ese apellido.
The recently discovered cave system was previously thought unreachable, but thanks to a new breakthrough in underwater flower technology, the pair hope to successfully reach the imposing central cavern and the undiscovered plant species it contains. Many were surprised when the two scientists, who've shared a fractious rivalry for many years, decided to undertake this expedition in each other's company. However, the two have released a joint statement in which they opine geniuses don't have to like each other to achieve remarkable results. Playing the field, rumors abound as sporting legend Johnny Hamsleeves
Vamos a
is
poner el
snapped
3.
within Bush, one of the capital's hottest clubs. The footballer was caught while out celebrating being named
El
Sports
Matorral.
Personality of the Year last week,
Se llamaba la
as
discoteca.
reported by this very program. Johnny is seen here with socialite and performance artist Tiffany Lamore, whose recent show, Snatched in
Tiffany
Side
Lamore.
by Snatch, has kept her firmly in the public eye. Could romance be on the cards for these two budding A-listers? And grievous bodily charm, with Advance promising a radical new position on crime.
Vamos a poner el
How
3 a ver
afraid
qué
should
onda.
we actually be? I'll be going live around the country to talk with people who've seen the criminal justice system from every perspective, with more and more powers passing to the police and less oversight. Are we using an Advance-shaped sledgehammer to crack a nut? All that and mega move with a group of young actors already experiencing the positive side of the new Assets and Wealth Act first.
A ver si me despelota acá.
They'll be talking and performing later. That's all coming up on tonight's National Nightly News.
¿Qué pasa? ¿Qué pasa? No. No. Qué hijos de puta. Quiero ver lo que está pasando. Bien. Ahí la tenés. Ponchame la 2.
We're talking about Advance's first week in office and what the new future holds. Joining me are Katie Brightman, a leading economist, and Alan James, author of Alan James is Right, the free man's guide to waking
Alan
up.
James is right.
Alan, the government certainly haven't dragged their heels on delivering some of the legislation they promised. But what does the Wealth Act mean for us?
Nothing, Jeremy. We're still vassal slaves, we're just in prettier cages.
A confident dismissal there. Katie Brightman, do you agree?
I'm afraid I don't, no. I think that Advance have realised that the current economic system of unlimited, unending growth is untenable, so they're changing things up.
There I agree with you. They're moving to the next steps in the grand plan.
Grand plan, Alan?
It's all in my book. Alan James is right, Jeremy. We're to become the great herd, ignorant, sterile, and short-lived. That's what they want.
Or perhaps Advance have just realised that if we carry on the way we are, we will destroy ourselves and this planet in a mad orgy of consumption, if you'll excuse the colourful metaphor.
Yes, orgy is the right word. Only it'll be the overlords having an orgy on our poor broken backs. It's all in my book. Alan James.
Se duerme, chaval.
Katie, how do you think the rest of the world will respond to this new approach?
I think they're watching carefully. Advance are the most disruptive threat that the world powers have faced since the last Great War.
Yes, Katie's right. War is inevitable.
Thank you. That isn't
And this will not be a war like we've ever seen before. We're talking millions of deaths. We're talking high-tech weapons that can level entire cities. We're talking...
Out of the wrong orifices?
Mock me all you like, Jeremy, but when they murder your parents and they poison your food and they take you away to their camps for hypno-brainwashing, we'll be laughing then.
That might be a great way to sell books, Alan, but you know full well that isn't going to happen in democracy.
Democracy is dead.
Yes,
Whoa.
Advance are radical, and change is always frightening, but the truth is that the Wealth and Assets Act has made more than 90% of the population wealthier, and is on target to produce a permanent end to poverty.
Bollocks! What this young lady doesn't understand, Jeremy, is that these are the same people.
Bollocks es una mala palabra.
But it's all a little circus act to keep us from seeing the tyrant behind the curtain.
That's where you're wrong, Alan. For a start, they've mobilised the youth vote like we've never seen before.
You say mobilise, I call it grooming. The grooming of an entire generation to walk happily into eternal bondage. They're like psychic paedophiles.
Right, based on the facts. Katie, what are your predictions?
The Assets and Wealth Act is only the first step. Advance now have a historic budgetary surplus, and as well as properly funding our public
Me caga el
services,
sensor.
they're already funneling unprecedented amounts into scientific research in the arts.
Or, as I call them in my book, Frankenscience and opiates. Like opiates, see?
Can we get back to the issue at hand, please, Alan?
This is the issue. It's all coming from the water, the chemicals, they're pumping it full of belief juice.
Don't get me wrong, I want to see these changes, but only if they're sustainable. If Advance lose their power after spending half of our GDP on dismantling infrastructure, that could be catastrophic.
The catastrophe is that they're succeeding. They've got us sat here talking about their puppet show.
All right, we're running out of time. Quickly, Alan, what does the future look like to you?
A bleak space where we've all been figuratively sodomized into submission.
No, of course. Katie?
We might be on the eve of a brave new world. God knows we need some change, but we need to be cautious. Let's walk forwards with our eyes open.
Two very different visions of the future there. Alan James, Katie Brightman, thank you for joining me. When we come back, I'll be investigating law and order before Megan meets some beneficiaries of the Assets and Wealth Act. That's all coming up tonight on the National Nightly News.
1 minute back.
You know, I think they might do some good.
I hope so too, Jeremy.
How much are you being paid by them?
No, no, no. Sin querer apreté un botón, pensé que se había pasado.
Meant by that.
And his incredible real-action eyes. It's no wonder Mr. Snugglehugs is the gift your child wants this Christmas. All the other kids have got one. That's right, little one. You
No, no voy a reiniciar, está bien. Ya está.
Oh shit, you will. She's good. You know she is.
Stop it, Woody. That's all I can do.
10 seconds, everybody. Little Jakey's going to the big bad clutch of the water.
If that sticks, I'll just...
5, 4, 3.
Welcome back. In our second segment, we're going to be taking a deep dive into the state of law and order in our country. Advance have already tasked what they are calling a solutions team to move this serious social problem to the top of the list. Tonight, we go behind the headlines to meet the people who live with the criminal justice system every day of their lives. First up, we have Gregory Judge, a lawyer who sees the problems close up on the front line. Can you hear me, Gregory?
Yes, I've got you, Jeremy. Thanks for having me.
What's it like on the front line of the hard face of the cold hand of justice?
Well, as you can imagine, Jeremy, we are massively understaffed in this country. We're working every hour we can just to try and cope with the caseloads on our desks.
It must affect the quality of support you can offer.
Well, we can barely keep up with demand,
What?
Jeremy. There just simply isn't enough being done at a systemic level to relieve the problem. We need more support from ministers.
¿Qué pasa?
We need change at a structural level,
I'm
Jeremy.
leaving, Greg.
Not a good time, darling.
It never is it?
Se está yendo la mina.
Just hang on. The problem isn't a local one, Jeremy. It's nationwide. Just give me 5 minutes. I'm talking to Jeremy Donaldson.
Oh, have you mentioned your affairs?
No. Well, the affairs of the Justice Department that we should be concerned about.
Hello, Mr. Donaldson.
Hello, Mrs. Judge.
We need legislation to relieve the pressure on our public
Sorry
servants.
to interrupt the news, Mr. Donaldson. Can I have a moment to tell my husband I'm leaving him?
Yes, I totally understand. Quite the picture of a burdened legal sector there. Gregory Judge, thank you for joining us. Police Chief Constable Bob Peel, a man with a very different
Uy, qué
perspective
quilombo se
on
armó.
crime. Do you think there's a problem with the system, Bob?
I'm sure we all do, Jeremy. I am sure
No,
we all
basta de
return to the
esto.
days when you could safely walk the streets of your community at night, looking in through windows and generally enjoying your neighbours without the risk of being terrorised by some thug with a knife. Or kosh.
So you feel the streets simply aren't safe anymore? Where have we gone wrong, Bob?
Well, that's not Jeremy, but I think it all comes down to moral decay. We've diluted our culture and lost touch with what it means to be a citizen of this once great country. Also, as the vicar noted in Sunday's sermon, we probably shouldn't have banned hanging.
And to what do you attribute this moral decay?
Foreigners, gays and gypsies mainly. It's all in the Bible. Look, Leviticus clearly states that... Oh, hang on, Jeremy, your bloody gypsy escaped. Delia? Your help, please, dear.
No,
As I was saying,
no.
Jesus didn't like immigrants much.
And just to be clear, you think it's the immigrants who are responsible for the moral decay?
Absolutely, Jeremy. Back in your box. Delia, I really could use a little help with this.
Yo lo mando al frente.
Yes, I'm talking to Jeremy Donaldson. Clive, could you put him back in his box?
Clive, you know it's Wednesday. You've got back in your dim space.
And whose responsibility is it to make a change, Bob?
Well, it is certainly not the responsibility of the decent, good, white people of this... Oh, hold on just a moment.
No!
Clive, I am not having this again. As I was saying, Jeremy, moral decay. Crime is the responsibility of the criminal, no one else. Look, everyone has a sob story, but we don't all end up as barbarians, do we? Look, when our daughter Alice comes home with an A-, does she go on a killing spree? No, she takes 3 of her pills and hides under the stairs like a normal child.
Thank you, Bob. Bob Peel there, really locking down the police's position on morality.
Mamita.
And finally tonight,
Sí, se pone regoma lo de la...
time to get to the heart of
Lo de la interferencia.
Tony Dawson has recently been released from prison after serving 3 years for aggravated assault, burglary, and menacing a SWAT. He's agreed to talk to us today, which is also, I believe, his birthday. Many happy returns, Tony.
Cheers, Jez. Call me Titwank Tony. Everybody else does.
No, I'm not going to be doing that. Can you tell us what it's like in prison, Tony?
Titwank Tony. Prison's a mixed bag. Structure's quite nice, but it's a constant battle against institutionalisation, as you can imagine. And obviously, titwanks are quite hard to come by.
I'm picking up that you're not alone there, Tony.
Titwank Tony. Yeah, sorry, my friends are throwing me a surprise party. Good bunch of lads.
Okay, well, we're trying to get back to that party as soon as possible. First, let me ask you this. Do you feel that your time spent in prison
help to rehabilitate you in any way, Tony?
Tit wank Tony. I don't think it's as easy as that, Jez.
Es re jodido el tema de la...
I think asking that is an oversimplification.
It sounds like it's getting quite busy there, Tony, but let's try and soldier on. Since leaving custody, have you been able to find a new job?
Yeah, all the boys are here. Big Chris, Little Chris, and Vampire Chris.
Buah.
One sec, love. Tit wank Tony's on the news.
Es re jodido el tema del sensor.
The current system, Jez. It's just not set up for it, you know? It's inherently unjust.
So, do you feel tempted to... I'm sorry, who is this now?
You are joking. Chrissy Free Bollocks has only got Mr. Fancy, oh.
No, se me va la mierda.
See, it seems like we've caught you at a bad time.
I can't really hear you, mate. It's getting a bit busy here.
Yes, we seem to be losing the signal there, Tony.
Fucking way, las bolitas!
Nah, es re jodido el tema de la censura.
I think we... Yes, Tony? Tony, I mean, we're literally away for 2 seconds. How has this happened, Tony? Can you hear me?
Lo dejo, la audiencia le encanta. No tanto.
The serious and complex issues around law and order. After the break, Megan will be live with some wacky young thespians. Don't go away. We'll be back after these messages.
1 minute back, everybody.
Went well.
Piss off.
Smooth, incisive journalism.
It's been a great night. In this next section, there's a bit of music. If you edit in time with the music, you can see the result on the vision mixer, and the public will love that. Don't worry if you don't, though. You won't get punished for it or nothing. Just try and stay in the groove. Also, one last tip. When the music starts, turn down the broadcast volume. Right, enjoy the music bit. God, I love music. God, I'm so pissed. I think I might go and throw up in a bit.
Looks alright, I've got this.
No entendí.
Come on, it's welcome back. How hard can it be?
This is on you.
10 seconds, everybody.
What the fuck?
Megan, camera 2. Going in 5, 4,
¿La dos?
3.
Welcome's Black, I'm Megan Wolf, and on tonight's Culture Spot, I'll be chatting with one of the first beneficiaries of the Assets and Wealth Act, a team of inspiring young people from Scritchford Sixth Form College, who today received a grant from Advance to take their play, Hey, Friendship, on a tour of local secondary schools. Welcome to you all. Well, let's start with you two, Harriet and Charlotte Winstanley Dash.
Después se pone peor, no me jodas.
We are, Megan. We're overwhelmed, to be honest.
And I believe you two are sisters, is that right?
Yes, Charlotte's my oldest. I'm the older, more popular one. I'm joking.
Harriet and Trey were really the ones who came up with the whole idea.
So, Harry and I were shooting the breeze in the cafeteria, and I said, hey, let's actually do something.
So I went to look for a drama teacher.
But she'd been laid off due to budget cuts. Fortunately, I directed a pantomime when I was at university, so I knew the ropes, as it were.
Oh, right, yes, but you're the maths teacher, aren't you?
Yes, that's me, Jeff Algebra, maths teacher. Maths is really important. Oh, thanks, Steve. Maths is really important. Yeah, thanks, Steve.
As is theatre. It's one of the oldest art forms in history. Aristotle believed.
I just think that when we travel around all these problem schools, poor kids see us, they say, hey, I really want to be like those attractive kids. And that's a very beautiful and powerful thing. We touch our audiences, and they touch us right back.
I suppose with a surname like Algebra, there was really only one choice of career for.
Claro, acá hay que tener la cámara grande, la apertura, y la otra es la que va cambiando.
Yes.
We just want to bring a bit of song and joy into people's lives.
And to teach people about the difficult issues. The issues in the play are what really matter.
And I think you're going to be showing us an extract from this play, aren't you?
That's right. To put into context, I play a young first year who's having some troubles at school.
Her character doesn't actually have a name, yeah? Because in a way, she's like all of us.
It's like a metaphor. maybe she's you at home, or like, maybe she's you, Megan.
Maths is really important.
Yeah, thanks, Steve.
Got it in, coach.
Yes, thanks, Steve.
Right, well, I'm going to have a little chat with your teacher while you run off and get ready. I can't wait to see it. That's it, that way. So,
sé yo que tengo que poner ahí?
first hear about the grants?
2 days ago, a letter from Advance arrived at the school. Now, the headmaster thought it was all a prank, but his secretary retrieved it from his bin and brought it to me.
How? How did you react?
I also threw it in the bin. But then, Harriet and Trey rescued it, and they rang the number at the bottom of the page, and next thing you know, we're on tour.
Wow. Well, I think we can all guess which way you'll be voting from now on.
Do you know what? It's funny, because Angela and I don't usually vote. We're not very political. I'm a mathematician, of course, and she's a paraplegic, mainly. But we did used to watch that Peter Clements DIY show back in the day, and so we thought, why not? Let's have a go with this whole democracy thing.
Good stuff.
Fucking brilliant!
So, let's have a look at a short section of Hey, Friendship.
Dear Diary, I'm not sure I can take another day at this school. Another day of tears. Another day of fears. But still I
¿Qué
walk
quilombo es
alone,
esto?
dreading what might be around every corner.
What's around the corner? What's around the corner? What's around the corner?
Oh, hi Gary. Oh heavens no! It's Gary the Fist!
Gary the Fist! Going somewhere, little first year?
Great! I've been looking for some poor victim to bully all morning. But will this make me feel better about my violent father?
Excuse me, I'm late for maths. It's my favourite subject. It's so important.
Maths is for losers. What? Maths is for losers. Just keep going, for fuck's sake.
No.
Maths is for losers. Now, give me your lunch money.
Double lunch for me today, but why am I only truly happy when I'm eating?
Not today, Gary the Fist.
What do you mean not today? Who are you? My own free coat.
Brilliant, keep going.
Right, who are you to stand up to me? I'm Gary the Fist, and you're just a sad little girl with 2 gay dads, who's all alone.
That's where you're wrong, Gary the Fist. These are my 2 new friends. Vanessa is captain of the netball team. Yeah. And Blake owns a motorbike.
Yeah.
But I can't fight all 3 of you, and I don't have any friends of my own.
¿Y esto? ¿Qué? No, hay que ir haciendo.
Take a look at me. Take a little look at my face.
Son muy grosos los chavales. Qué bueno está hecho.
Hey, listen up, I won't take no crap. Who said middle class girls can't rap? I ain't afraid of your crew lads. I'm a mother loving rebel, but I still love maths.
Hey, kids, I'm Gary the Fist. People think that folks like me probably shouldn't exist, but that's just prejudice, and I'd do better if you knew the way that I became Gary the Fist.
Nah, buenísimo.
I grew up on a council estate. The park was hip, but the flats weren't great. My dad used to come home drunk and late. Yes, life's pretty hard on a council estate. 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 It's so damn hard on a council estate.
No.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Es buenísimo eso.
It's my choice.
So stop now, make a different choice. Listen to that inner voice. Friendship! Yes!
Se actuaron todos.
Thankfully, that's all we have time for tonight on the National Nightly News. Join us tomorrow
¿Qué pasa?
night
Dijo.
for all the headlines from across the country. My name's Jeremy Donaldson. Have a peaceful night.
And we're out.
Uy, ¿qué pasó? Uy.
What the literal fuck was that? That was art. I believe I've got a 14-inch clock, but it's not so.
Se actuaron la vida.
Oh, someone please get these twats out of my studio.
Muy bueno, tú. Muy bueno. A+, vieja. A+. No ves la música, Bien. Bueno. Pobre como una rata. Deuda agobiante. Bien. Audiencia. Ajá. Ok. No sé esto qué onda. Muy bueno. Bueno, gente, hasta acá llegamos con este juegazo. Voy a bajar un poquito el volumen. Muy bueno, la verdad. Not for broadcast. Un juego que, bueno, obviamente tiene un humor muy inglés. Después se empieza a poner cada vez mejor por lo que estuve leyendo. Así que bueno, por ahí lo voy a seguir jugando. Por ahí hacemos alguna otra transmisión por acá por Twitch. Tiene un humor muy Monty Python. La verdad que se actúan todo porque son segmentos re largos. Y el hecho de las múltiples cámaras, no sé a ustedes qué les pareció. A mí me parece impresionante el laburo que hicieron. Como les decía, está en la misma empresa que está detrás de juegos como por ejemplo Hello Neighbor. Así que aplausos por haber largado un juego con full motion video. Algo que en los años 2020 prácticamente nadie hace. Y la verdad que está genial. Me pareció buenísima la idea de esto. No sé a ustedes qué les pareció. A mí me parece increíble. Bueno, gente, muchísimas gracias por haber estado por ahí. Nos vemos en una próxima transmisión, en otro broadcast. Gracias a Belmont ahí por estar siempre en el chat. Y bueno, nos vemos en un próximo episodio. Adiós. Bye bye. Ah, este era el de anterior, claro, Election Day, este es de Fallout, se llama. Mira vos. Buenísimo. Chao, Cebuchi, nos vemos, gracias por estar.